Hey, Melissa here. Hope that you're having a wonderful day. I'm so excited for this video today because I'm covering a very important topic, and once it's covered, it's going to create so much freedom and power in your life that I want you to pay close attention. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you one very powerful yet very simple exercise that I do with clients either in one-on-one settings or in workshops. And this exercise is going to help you get to the bottom of your biggest fears and help you overcome them to see that fear doesn't have to have a handle on you, but that you can actually walk through life hand in hand, having some fear and tackling on your biggest goals anyways. So in a recent article that I shared on my blog, I talked to you about commitment and freedom and how these two concepts could work together and become synonymous. Now, whenever I'm talking about commitment with clients, a lot of fear can come up. People are terrified about commitment. Especially nowadays, we have so many options that we're not sure if committing to one thing, one project, person, experience is going to prevent us from experiencing other things that might be better or different. The thing is that this lack of commitment is creating a lot of paralysis in our life and is creating a lot of discomfort, of distress, and depression. When you do not commit to some of the things that are the most important to you, you are actually missing out. So forget this whole idea of the fear of missing out thing. When you don't commit and jump full-heartedly into those things that are most important to you, you are the one losing out. And so are those around you who could benefit from you doing more of what you love. So I wanted to talk about this element of fear and tie it into commitment so that you can go ahead and start doing those things that light you up. Commitment. Are you afraid of committing to a project, maybe a career transition, maybe starting your own business, or perhaps you're afraid of committing in your romantic relationships, or perhaps to some of those dream goals that you have of booking that trip to Hawaii or booking that yoga retreat in Costa Rica or something that equally exciting. I want you to choose what is it in your life right now that you are having hesitations or fears around so that we can use it as an example in this exercise. So what you're going to do here is once you're clear as to what is this thing that you're afraid of, if I give you an example where I really overcame fear or looked fear straight in the eye was when I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer 5 years ago. Facing my mortality was my biggest fear. I didn't know I was going to face it at that time in my life. However, it was one of the most life-changing experiences. I remember that moment when my doctor called me in. I remember getting all dressed up, and I didn't tell anyone that I had that appointment. My doctor had called me in the morning asking me if I was free in the afternoon. I said, of course. I canceled my whole day and got ready. I had a feeling I was going to be getting news that was going to change my life. And as I was walking towards the hospital, I bumped into one of my best friends. It was no coincidence. And she knew what was going on, so she came with me. I was his last patient, and there was no one else left in the waiting room. I was struggling on the inside and on the outside, and even just telling you about it makes me get back to that experience. I remember walking to his office, and he's one of the nicest men you'll ever meet. And he started drawing things on his paper. He could barely look at me in the eye to tell me, because he related to me as if I was his daughter. And so when he told me the news, it was equally difficult for him to give it to me as it was for me to take it. And my life changed in that instant. I didn't know what was going to happen next, and I was so scared. And there's a point where I had to choose whether I was going to let the fear of this cancer maybe ending my life or changing it to be one of the most terrible things that was going to happen, or I could choose to work with this fear, to focus and to really do whatever I could control. Because the things I couldn't control were things I could not pay attention to. I needed to focus on what I could. And that meant showing up every single day, showing up to my appointments, being proactive, communicating with my doctors, feeding myself nutritious, wholesome foods, taking care of my mind, my body, and my spirit. Clearly, it's kind of worked out. But what I realized is that facing that biggest fear and really kind of working hand in hand in it instead of letting it have a hold on me made me see that even though I was scared, I could do anything. I could get focused, and all these distractions and all these other elements that were putting me down didn't matter as much. I'm not saying it was easy. It was the hardest period of my life. What I'm saying is that I do a lot of things that scare me every single day. And because of that experience where I learned to face fear and look at it in the eye, I'm able to do these things. I realized that the worst thing that was going to happen is that I was going to leave this planet. And I really didn't want that to happen, but that was the reality of it. I got the emotion out of it and just got real. And that's what you're going to do. Because most of the time, the things that we're scared of won't end in you not being here anymore. Most of the times, the things that we're really scared of, the thing that we're most terrified about is things not working out, of getting our heart broken, of us not being good enough, of us maybe losing money or wasting our time. The thing is, you can't get that time back, but you can get the lessons. You can always make more money some other way. You can always mend a broken heart, and the reality is that you will move forward. You will get lit up again. And I want to take you there. So choose that thing in your life where you're afraid to commit. What are you afraid of? Is it one of those things I just mentioned? Is it of getting your heart broken? Of you not being good enough? Of it not being what you thought it was? Of you missing out on another opportunity? So just think about the broader thing. What is it that you're actually afraid of? And then let's start breaking it down. If the worst thing were to happen, what would you do? So let's take an example that I recently worked on with one of my clients. She's a young client with so much intelligence and wisdom. It's such a pleasure to work with her. And one of her biggest fears was of not graduating, of failing her final exams and of not graduating high school. So I work with a broad range of clients. She's 16. I have some that are in their 60s plus. So this is a great exercise to do with someone of her age. So she thought that if she failed her exams, she wasn't going to graduate high school, and that it kind of felt like the end of the world. And I'm sure you've experienced something like that, where it just felt like you had the world on your shoulders. And what we were able to do in just a couple minutes is walk her through these deep fears, and she was able to see herself marrying the love of her life. So this is how we did it. So I asked her what would happen if she failed her exams. So I'd be really disappointed and I'd be sad. I'd be down on myself and embarrassed. I wouldn't graduate with my friends. And then what would happen? That was my next question. And then what? Well, I'd probably, suck it up, study over the summer, rewrite the exam at the end of the summer, and graduate then. And then what? And then I would go back to school, probably take a couple months off because I couldn't start college halfway through. And then what? And then what? And then what? And then what? And I asked her that probably a dozen times until she started taking it on herself and seeing that and then what was taking her to a better place. That even though what felt like was going to be the end of the world, she was able to find a moment in time where things were going to resurge again and that she was going to be excited about her life again. So maybe this is an exercise you need to do. Keep asking yourself, and then what would happen? And then what would you do? And then how would you feel? And then how would you act? Until you get to a moment where that fear no longer has control over you, but you see it as an area of opportunity. It might not feel easy to do, and it isn't. However, it's an exercise that you can do in any given moment, and it can only take a minute, maybe maximum 5 minutes, and you will get to a point where you realize that even though things will be tough and they'll be challenging, you will get out of it and you will start something else. So maybe you're launching your dream business right now and you're terrified because it means so much to you that you worry that if it doesn't work out the way you have it mapped out in your head, you won't have any other ideas. But you know that's not true. You know you have other things that you want to create. You know that you have more love to give and more money to generate. So do this quick exercise. Identify the fear and then ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? And then what would you do? Until you get to that point where you see light again. Now, I hope this exercise is helpful for you, and I would love to support you in overcoming any of the fears that are holding you back from committing to the most important goals in your life. Thank you so much for watching, and please share this video with your friends and maybe someone who might be dealing with some fear in their lives. If you have any questions or any comments or insights, leave them in the comments section below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Melissa Collerette. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Freedom could be synonymous. Now, fear is a big component of our reasons for not committing to things that are important for us in our lives. And so I wanted to do this follow-up video to support you in dealing with any of the fears that might come up for you when you are looking at committing to something. A lot of fear can come up. And that's why I wanted to create a video to open up the conversation around how to deal with fear in your life and live an incredible life. Okay, this is not gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. What do you think? You think it's gonna work? You're being too cute. You're being too cute.